if you run players into the ground when they've got niggles, eventually something goes snap.
And it was two terrible teams at the bottom of the league playing against each other.
That was just a dress rehearsal for the championship. We'll see that fixture again 2 times next year.
It's 2026. Tottenham won a game. Tottenham won a game. Tottenham won a game. Yes, it's 2026 and Tottenham won a game. And here we go. It's the Crowing Cockerel Podcast. How are we doing, boys?
I mean, I was... Look, we'll get into it, but I was transported back to the playground there. So, mixed feelings.
Yeah,
But thanks for the nostalgia.
I was thinking, do I wear a Spurs shirt? Because I really don't want a serious injury.
Well,
So I was
Very
just going to
nice.
come on with a pullover. But yeah, I thought, no, I'll keep going. I'm at the age where I hurt my back just coughing. Anything can happen. But yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. It was good to get more points than like players out for the season, though, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a start.
Have we heard, obviously, we're recording this on the day that Xavi has come out and said, I think we already knew anyway, that he's done. He won't play again this season. He's not going to the World Cup. Have we heard about Dom yet?
Hamstring, apparently.
Hamstring. All right. Okay. So from
Hamstrings are not serious injuries at our club anymore.
No.
He's only out for the rest of the season, not most of next season as well. So that's all good. I mean, what it now means, doesn't it? Because no matter what happens, there aren't going to be many outgoings, are there? Because who's going to be buying all our players in the summer window? Because none of them will work. None of them are past medical at the moment, were they? So
Are you saying this is a genius tactic by the club?
if I was the finance guy, I'd be absolutely bricking it, because they must be on a lot of money, and I know that there apparently is clauses in contracts to cut their wages in half or whatever. But 150 to 75 is still quite a wage in the Championship, isn't it? So I don't think that's really what you want to be paying out. And then add on to the fact that they're not going to be playing. That seems a bit of an issue, doesn't it? But yeah, so obviously we're all really positive that we'll get another 3 wins and we won't be playing in the Championship next season. But whatever happens, well, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it's mad, really, isn't it? I mean, it's our fourth ACL.
Yeah, in a pretty short period of time.
What do we think? Why? We've guessed around this.
So I'm gonna base this opinion on me. I think, I haven't checked today, but I think I've got a GCSE in biology. I'm not certain. Obviously, I have no access to any information of any validity at all. So this is pure speculation based on nothing but air. But it looks to me that if you rely on a squad after 2.5 seasons, 3 seasons ago, when it all started with getting serious injuries, and the squad wasn't big enough to deal with a season without European football, and then we went into a season with European football. The Europa League has a lot more games, and we didn't really make it a bigger squad. And then we still had the injuries, and then we go into this season with Champions League football, and again we get rid of a lot of players, but we don't have a very big squad, and then we have loads of injuries. And it just appears to me that if you run players into the ground when they've got niggles, eventually something goes snap. Because Xavi, for example, he went off, or he should have come off against Brighton because he couldn't walk. So whether that's related, the fact that he's fit to play, but actually his ACL is crying out not to be twisted or have any pressure put on it, and then it just goes ping.
Yeah, look, I've got another take on this, and it'll be no surprise to you that I'm laying some of this blame squarely at the doors of the players. This season, I think, has been earmarked by, and I'm not talking about just Spurs here, but what's happened at Chelsea. Player power this season. It's been spoken about in previous seasons, but it feels really prominent this year, with managers getting turfed out, with stuff getting more easily out into the press about sort of dressing rooms being unhappy. And I've had this feeling for a while that the team have down tools, they dropped professionalism, they weren't invested in what Frank, what Tudor were doing. And, you hear about sort of what happens at these top clubs where they train as they play. So that resilience is there. So the hardest thing you go through that week is the training, because then you're ready for match day. And yes, of course, you get into a season, you've got to look at fatigue, you've got to look at injuries, minutes played, age of the players, all that sort of stuff. But that's what the sports science is for. But at the very root of this, it's fitness, it's readiness, it's how capable are these players at what should be the very top level. And I still think that we're looking at a group of players that dropped so far off, especially under Frank, that they've not been able to raise that level again.
But then,
and of course,
that was apparently never an issue. If anything, they were overtraining and it was over intense the previous 2 seasons under Postecoglou. So I think your point about the sports science. I mean, my concern is the sports scientists that we've got at the club have the same qualifications in discussing this as I do.
The one GCSE in biology.
One GCSE in biology. I think it's a bit easy to blame the players because I don't think players are silly enough to put themselves in the position that they are not fit enough to get through a game of football. They wouldn't allow it to happen because it's your career. It's your profession. And whether you want to play for Spurs or not, even if, you put it at the door of just choosing Xavi today because of the bad news. But say, for example, he was like, I can't believe I've signed for this club. I want out. I really want out. I'm not putting it in training and things like that. Would not think for one moment that any professional football wouldn't realise that if they don't put in reasonable performances every now and again and they're not fit, they're not going to get a move to a club and get any sort of salary. But I honestly don't think we're any less qualified than anything else I've seen. And I think that's my point of bringing the lack of expertise here up, really, is that I've seen it's the retractable pitch.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I think that is just the ill feeling between the ownership and the downturn from 2019.
And also the retractable pitch, when you think about how much football they play, how much running they do or whatever in training and all the away games, the amount of time they actually spend on that retractable pitch is hardly anything compared to all the time that they're actually doing physical exertion and
yeah. And Molyneux doesn't have a retractable pitch.
No, but exactly.
No, and the South Korea game was played where Maddison got his done, wasn't a retractable pitch. And I haven't seen, and I might be wrong, but I don't think any players that have come to Spurs this season have done their ACL at Spurs, which you would expect more because they're not ever playing on it. So if the ground is shifting underneath them, it'd be more of a shock to them. And it would almost be a situation where we should have the advantage if the pitch was moving.
It's just weird though, isn't it? It's just like the players just seem so brittle. I mean, I cannot believe, having seen what Xavi did, which was essentially just fall over, that he's done that. I just don't understand how something so innocuous can have caused that much damage.
He tried to stop himself, didn't he, at the edge of the pitch? And
you can say the same. Yeah, you can say the same for Thom.
Yeah.
He wasn't running full pelt at that moment in time. No. It wasn't like a race for the ball.
But then you look at Lamine Yamal. He done his hammy taking a penalty. And it's like, there's so much. And I think to your point, Graham, it can only be overexertion of these players. It's the only credible kind of thing you can say, because you look at what they're doing, none of these injuries are being caused by crunching tackles or anything that makes sense. It's just wear and tear over and over many years probably. But yeah, it's just mad. The number of big injuries that we've got, and obviously we're just talking about the ACLs. Kudus has been out for months, and then again was meant to be coming back, and then his injury reoccurs. Obviously Odebear's been out forever. Kulusevski, we don't even have a timeline for him, and he's already been out a year. It's unbelievable. And you think that you're just starting to see the end of the worst of it, and they just pile back on again. It just seems to be 2 years of endless injuries.
Well, really, it's 3, isn't it? It's from the Chelsea game in the first season of Postecoglou.
Yeah, true.
When Maddison,
it started then.
Maddison had a pretty serious injury then.
Yeah.
Van
der Ven.
And it all fell apart. It can't be bad luck when
No,
it goes on for this long.
No.
There must be.
That medical team, that sports science team, it's either been mismanaged or it's not been listened to.
I do think it's got a massive amount to do with lack of squad depth, and that we can't rotate. We can't rotate because what do you rotate to? Because it's almost a spiral, isn't it? If you have 5 first team players out of a squad of 24, because you can only have a squad of 24, and then
you're not wrong, but also this is a unique situation. There's no other team with this many injuries out of this many first team players. We could put another team out of those injured players, especially with Vicario injured now. So you can't sort of just look at it and say, well, the squad's not big enough. You bring everybody back tomorrow.
The squad can't be any bigger. The squad can only be 24 players.
Exactly.
It can't be any bigger.
You bring everybody back from injury now. That's a full Premier League squad where you can rotate. But we can't keep the people on the pitch. And that's the issue.
So I saw a graphic earlier that for game week 1 of this season, we had 5 first team squad players out. So that's game week 1. At the peak, we had 11 first team squad players out. So that was, I think, from sort of the beginning of this year. So the end of the Frank reign to the Tudor period, yeah. Then it's gone down to 8, and now it's gone back up to 9. So you've got 9 players out at the moment from 24.
So we've never dropped below 5?
No, that was day 1.
That's where we
game
started.
1. That was,
wow.
Yeah. That's fine.
Well,
So
I knew it was bad, but I never knew that we were consistently
You started with
bad.
a squad when you should have 24. We started with a squad of 19. And this sort of goes back to that balance that you have to have in the club, isn't it? So you look at Mikey Moore's loan, and he's gone to Rangers after breaking into the first team because of injuries last season. And he looked capable being in the first team. You would think that you probably wouldn't want him starting every game, but if he was still at the club, with a massive assumption he didn't get seriously injured, but he would now be a pretty decent lad and probably something that the fans could get behind, that he's coming in and doing it. And I know there's calls for the other youngsters coming, but they've never played a proper first team game. So you don't, you're taking a massive risk, aren't you, if you put youngsters in there.
You start seeing like what Will Lankshire's done this season in the Championship. He's been tearing it up in the Championship, and you think, well, is he an any worse option than the other centre forwards that we've had?
Absolutely not. Not with the experience he's just had.
Yeah.
But he didn't have. If he'd stayed, he wouldn't have had that experience.
Yeah. This is it.
But I think your point is absolutely valid, Graham, in the sense that if he'd stayed, we would have had the opportunity to rotate, rest, bring on those.
Or of course, your other option, Tom, is what you said in January. You bring in somebody, and you look at the situation on Saturday. Or Saturday we played Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that 4-minute spell when we scored, Everton equalised, and it all changed around. Now, who changed that again? It was a player that West Ham basically brought into the club to just come on the end of games. And what's he done? He's got a last-minute winner against Everton. And he's positioning if you watch the goal, it's actually a really good bit of striker play. He holds back when everybody thinks it's going towards the goal. He's got acres of space in the 6-yard box because he's got that experience. He knows what's going on. And of course, he got the last winner at our place. Last minute.
Yeah, I was going to say he pops up, doesn't he? He
so that's
starts
6
games,
points,
but
6 points he has got West Ham. Who do we bring on that you can rely on or to have an impact like that? If we are drawing going into injury time or the last 5-10 minutes of the game, who can we bring off the bench that you think actually he might get a goal? There's literally no one now, is there? There isn't anybody. We're going to have to do it based on what we've started with now.
Probably say Paulinho at the minute. I think, I think we've been chatting for.
He's probably going to start now, isn't he?
I think
Tell will probably pay for Xavi, and Richarlison will go up front. So you then don't have anything on the bench. So you put Paulinho on for a bit of stability, and then maybe bring Bergvall on later. I don't know. I don't know. I hope De Zerbi's got a plan because he's got more
But
than a
look,
GCSE.
we have just been speaking for, I think, well over 10 minutes, depending on how much rubbish Mark decides he wants to edit out already. But we've been speaking for a good chunk already. And we haven't even got into the fact that we won a game. We actually, and look, let's call it out. Probably in that final third, I thought we were good. I thought we looked. I said last week that I thought you could see the fact that De Zerbi was a good coach because he gets that message across quicker, and that press was there again, and that speed to try and move the ball quicker, and and to get the right players in the right positions to make something happen. There was that frustration that we weren't getting over the line, but we did win the game and we held on, and Kinski got that last minute save, and isn't that great? And it's fantastic to see him doing it again. And I think I messaged you boys afterwards. That was one of the most underwhelming games I think I've ever watched, because at the end of the day, there was only one moment in these past few weeks where I felt like, maybe I've been wrong to be so pessimistic. And that was not when we scored, that was when Everton equalised. When that Everton equaliser went in, I went, you know what, I
This
could
could
be wrong.
happen. This could happen.
This could happen.
Yeah.
And that one moment was about as joyous as I felt about our position, and it had nothing to do with our game. And I think that just says, maybe this is not just me, where a lot of Spurs fans are at the minute, that yes, it was a better performance, yes, we won, but to come out of that, losing Xavi, losing Solanke, West Ham still won. I can't believe the absolute spanking Nottingham Forest gave Sunderland.
Yeah.
I mean, and we come away with Wolves just about scraping a win, but with 2 new injuries to boot. I felt numb.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I just think you look at it and it was 2 terrible teams at the bottom of the league playing against each other. There was barely any chances created. Well, you could see why Wolves are bottom of the league. They don't have anything. We don't have anything. And it was a set piece goal that got the winner. Yeah, I don't know. Like you say, for those magical 5 minutes where we scored and Everton equalised, you sort of think, okay, maybe this is going to happen after all. And obviously there's a lot of noise about some of the decisions that happened in that Everton game as well that, are particularly controversial, that may have allowed Everton to see that game out. But ultimately, you look ahead to us, 4 games to go now, Aston Villa's next up, and you just think, have we really shown enough in those last 2 games to think that we can do what we need to do in these next 4 games? And for me, I still don't see it.
Not with losing 2 more players. I think you're asking a lot of the rest of the squad that need to come in now and step up. And, there's a lot of clamour already to get Maddison on the pitch when, he's clearly still not ready.
I think the worst thing is that yes, we got a win. Absolutely fantastic. We got a win. And I know Wolves are bottom, but they were also relegated. So they looked better in the last few games at home, didn't they? But they had to try and win. They just completely sat in against us. They didn't. Admittedly, that's probably because we are so weak going forward. But at the same time, they played completely differently than they did against Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Arsenal, where they got really good results. But a win is a win, and if you haven't won a game all year, I don't care.
You take it.
And it would have lifted the dressing room other than the injuries. My biggest thing is that all the results that went around it were awful, not just the ones near us, but even like Fulham beating Aston Villa.
Yeah.
So if Villa beat Fulham, they've got their semi-final either side of our game. They're in the Champions League regardless. They could play the kids, which, you would expect them to do. Now, there's still a little bit of jeopardy. So what are they going to do? They're going to probably have to put out a much better team than they would have done if they beat us. Even the cup semi-final. Leeds get in the cup final. That's 2 things to worry about, isn't it? Two
Yeah.
things to think about. And admittedly, it might make no difference at all. But I thought, oh, great. So now all they've got is the end of the season to focus on. There's nothing going to distract them. And it's those 1%, isn't it, that you're always looking for around you, just to think. And the other thing that really got me is apparently Leeds, West Ham, and Forest combine their last 15 games, so 15 games across those three clubs. They've only lost one, but
That
now
is crazy, isn't it?
we need West Ham to start losing. Now, things can change really, really quickly, and this might be really niche for some of our overseas listeners, but the snooker's going on at the moment, and Ronnie O'Sullivan, best snooker player in the world, was beating John Higgins, who's also pretty good, but he was absolutely thrashing him. John Higgins wasn't in it at all. But then he got a bit of momentum and he won a few frames and then he won a few more and then he won a few more. And he came back from 6-2 down and won it 13-12 in the end. So there's a things can change really, really quickly. And I watched West Ham, the West Ham highlights on Match Today, and there's one thing that's really noticeable about them. They've got two really fantastic players. They've got Bowen and they've got
Somerville, yeah.
Now, if anything like what's happened to Spurs, and I don't wish that on either of them, but if they come out of the team, West Ham are a completely different team. You know,
Yeah.
and so
But
things
they
can
don't.
change.
They've
quite
played
quickly.
all season. That's the
Yeah, I
difference,
know.
isn't it? You know,
But
that's the
say we sneak a result against Villa, and then you're going into the Leeds game, and all of a sudden you've won 2 in a row, you're unbeaten in 3, and there's hope.
yeah.
You just need
It is.
things to turn a little bit in your favour. Because
It
I
is.
do think if it came down to it, last day of the season, and we needed a result against Everton, we'd get a result against Everton. I do think we would.
What? And you don't think that
It's whether we can get
West
to
Ham?
Everton.
Yeah, but you do not think that West Ham
We
playing
need to be out of the relegation zone. So we need to be above West Ham. We
But
need to be above
But
West Ham.
you're saying on the last day you think we can get the win we need against
Yeah,
Everton.
to say so if West Ham win, we would be able to get the result that we'd need to stay up. It's whether we get there or not.
Because they've got Leeds at home, and I would probably back West Ham with that. But I think Leeds
you would too.
Leeds are sorted.
Yeah, they are, but they now lose their next 2, and they're back in it, aren't they? And it's a massive if we get decent results over the next 2 games, all of a sudden we're on 40 points. And it's then, has any of those teams also got away from us? Because I think the whole season comes down to these next 2 games.
And that is the mad thing as well, isn't it? Is that 40-point thing has always been a thing, but actually over many, many, many seasons, clubs have not needed anywhere near 40 points to stay up.
Oh yeah.
And
42
of course,
is the biggest amount, isn't it?
Exactly. And of course, this season, all of a sudden, as you just said, the other bottom 3 are now in title winning form. And it's going to be probably a record high number of points that you need to actually stay in the division. It's just
This is why I think that, you know, sadly this is just our season. You look at everything that has gone on this year. You look at the injuries. You look at the manager turmoil. You look at the sort of the dressing room hurly-burly. You look at everything that is happening outside of Tottenham, which seems to, regardless of any which way you turn, seems to have a negative effect on us. And that's why I just felt that on Saturday, that was just a dress rehearsal for the Championship. We'll see that fixture again 2 times next year, at least.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to be optimistic, and it was really hard to just go through all of that on Saturday, all of those kind of highs and lows that you went through with the different goals going in the different games, and then the final whistles blew, and you just had this awful realization that actually nothing had changed. It was in exactly the same place as you were where you started.
I think that's what made it so underwhelming.
Yeah.
So sort of numb.
But it just seemed like there was, there's so much effort.
But imagine if we hadn't beaten Wolves, hadn't scored.
Yeah. Dead and buried.
So we're 2 points, 5 points. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, dead and buried.
5. 5 points you're not making up over 4 games.
No. So it's much better to drag out the torches. You're right, Graham.
Yeah, so that we can get to Chelsea and they can send us down.
God, no. No. Right, we need a Tom's teaser because I can't.
Yeah, Let's play that jingle.
Tom's teaser.
Right, well, as Graham was talking about the snooker, you might remember a few weeks ago, we had a 147 based Tom's teaser. Well, this week it's a different sport in mind. It's a bit of Tottenham darts. I'm going to ask you boys to try and get a 180. So what I've got is stats that have been recorded against Tottenham players, and there's 3 darts, 3 players, that I want you to get as close to 180 as you can with those players. If you go over 180, you do not get any points. Highest points wins, and if you get 180, you get a bonus point. So that's nice. And before we get into it, remember we agreed last week this is going to be double points. So whoever wins this gets 2 points towards the Tom's teaser total. So Tottenham 180. I will give you the category, and then I want you to give me the 3 players you think who've got enough to get you up to a 180. So the first category is clearances, and as a taster, Ruben Diaz has 115 clearances this season. Just say all these stats were taken from the Premier League website before the weekend's games. So I need 3 players. Write down your 3 players. Okay, if you've written down your 3 players, your 3 darts.
Darts ready.
Okay. Graham, give me your 3 players, please.
Okay, so I've gone on the basis that none of these have played all the games, but they would all have probably cleared quite a bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Gray, Romero, and Richie.
I thought we'd matched.
Interesting. Okay. Mark, your 3 players, please.
So I also went Gray and Romero, and I went Danso.
Danso.
I think Danso's done loads.
Okay, Mark, we'll start with you. It was Gray, Romero, Danso. Remember, you've got to get to 180. And Gray has 43 clearances. Romero has 94 clearances. Danso, 108. That's 245. What? You are bust. So, Graham, if you get 180 or less, you win this round.
Danso's brilliant. Heads it away. Get it away, son.
Yep. But he's barely played this season.
So, although,
yeah,
to be fair,
we defend
wish
a
it was
lot.
109. Wish it was 109 and we wouldn't be in the blooming relegation zone. But
okay, Graham, you chose Gray, 43, Romero, 94, and Richie, 45. It's 182.
Ah!
So you both bust off by 2. Gutting. Right. And we're on to the next round. So this round is Duels 1. And I'm going to give
we're going to need the whole squad.
Duels 1, and the Man City player I'm going to give you as an example is O'Reilly. He's got 147 Duels 1. So that's O'Reilly at City. But what about 3 Tottenham players? Have a little think. And while you're having a little bit of a think, just to let you know that clearances, you could have got a perfect 180 with Porro, 88, Sarr, 46, and Yao with 46. So there we are. It is possible. Okay, are we ready with Duels 1? Mark, we'll go with you first. Your 3 players, please.
Right. I'm hoping I've gone safe on this one. So I've gone Polinia, who, as far as I'm concerned, is the only player that has won any duels for us this season. I'm sticking with Danso. And then the safe bit, I'm going with Colomwani.
Okay.
So
Graham,
effectively, I'm throwing 2 darts and chucking one on the floor.
Right.
Graham, you're 3.
So if you've gone that route, I'm throwing 1 dart and chucking 2 on the floor. so I have also gone with Polinia, because I think that's probably 178. I've gone Kolo Muani for 2, and then Madison.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. That is seriously sneaky. Wow. Okay. I'm going to do both of yours together because you had similar choices. So you both chose Paulinia for Jules 1. That's 165.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I was pretty.
You both chose Karawani. That's 80.
80?
Yeah.
He's
And
actually,
Mark, you chose Danside 95. I'm not even going to add them up. You both bust once again. Well done.
How has Kolomwani won 80 duels?
I don't know. Maybe he tackled himself.
does it include fouls or something?
I haven't got that level of information in front of me.
Wow, we are so bad at this game.
Very, but it does mean you've had 2 goes now. So you understand the concept. So when I say that this final round is successful long passes, have yourselves a think, and we'll try and get some points on the board. For those of you interested, you could make a 180 for Jules 1 with Van der Ven 99, Dominic Solanke 57, and Brennan Johnson 24. Your player for comparison is Donnarumma, who has 121.
Okay.
So this is like a direct shootout now. This is for the win and for those double points. So Graham, we will come to you first. Who are your 3 players? What's your 3 darts?
So, based on your example, I've gone with Vicario. He's probably tried as many and as half as successful. Danso, because he's mainly tries to go short just to Porro, and then Richarlison, because I'm guessing he probably wouldn't have played many long passes. So I'm banking on Vicario doing most of this heavy lifting.
All right, Vicario, Danso, Richie, Mark, what are you going with?
I've got 3 different players. I've got Kinski, I've gone with Pedro Porro, and I'm going with Matisse Tell.
Interesting. Right.
Probably should have asked for a definition of long pass as well.
Yeah. Well, it's what you think it is. It's a pass, but long. Right. Okay. I have totted up the scores and I'm ready to give you the final result. Graham, we'll start with you. You went with Vicario, Danso, Richie. Vicario, you're right. He's doing a lot of the heavy lifting there with 157.
Oh, dear. He's had more. Hold on a minute. He's had more successful passes than Donnarumma.
You also said Richie. That's 10. That takes you up to 167. And you also said Danso. And that's 30. So I'm sorry, dude. You're bust again. That's 0 points. Mark, let's see if you've got any points this entire game. You said Kinski. That's 20.
Okay.
You said Pedro Porro.
He's a lot, I would say.
That's 120.
Okay.
And then you said Tell.
Come on. 40 or less.
11.
Yes.
So with the 151 with those 3 darts and the only viable score on the board, Mark, you win this week's double points Tom's teaser and probably put yourself out of reach. Graham, you're only playing for pride.
Well, I'm sure Graham's going to change the rules again now.
No, because next week it's triple points, isn't it?
So the overall score in Tom's teaser is Graham 11, but with those double points, Mark 19 now.
Tom's teaser.
Hold on, Mark gets double points.
Yes.
No, I thought it was only me that was going to get double points.
No. Sorry, dude.
Did you not listen to last week's pod?
Feel free to take it to the court for arbitration for sport, but I don't fancy your chances.
No, because I haven't got enough money to bribe them.
Allegedly.
What? That I've not got enough money to bribe them, or that I accept bribes? Because I can tell you with all absolute truth, one of them is definitely true.
Dear.
Whether I have enough money is complete conjecture.
Okay, so let's talk predictions. And we were all highly optimistic, or just, I think, more
Desperate.
hopeful or desperate, that we were going to win last week. But we did win. We didn't get any goal scorers or results correct. So 1 point for everybody. No change in the overall league standings. Graham has 23. I've got 32. Thom has 39. So let's move on to the next game, away to Aston Villa. As we mentioned last week, this is kind of anchored in between their two European games against Nottingham Forest. So do you think that's going to be a benefit? How do you think we're going to get on this week?
Shall I go first? I am just going to go with unfounded positivity again. Just desperation, nothing based in fact. But I think they will rest a few players. And I think we'll just want it a little bit more. And somehow we'll get over the line. And I think we'll win 2-1. And I think Danso is going to bang one in the net with his noggin.
Wow.
I like that. I do like that.
Yeah, because I'm in for a redemption arc now. With the Kinski situation, I'm all in for redemption arcs.
Yeah. Well, you cling on to that while I bring us back down to earth with what I think will probably be a 3-0 drubbing.
Wow.
I honestly think that if we can struggle against a Wolves team to only barely cross the line, I think Villa are too good at home at the minute, and I think they've got good players. I think they'll be able to rotate a little and not impact on themselves too much. I don't see us getting a result there, and I think it could be the nail. I'm saying 3-0.
Okay, well, I am not prepared to give up on us quite yet. So I'm going to say we're going to win 1-0. And just mainly because he's the only striker left, I'm going to say Richie is going to be the one for us this week. Alrighty, so an obvious positive Spurs is the fact that it was 2026 and we won a game. But do we have anything else? Let's ask our resident expert in positive Spurs.
Now everybody, haven't you heard? Here's a guy that can polish a turd. When you think you've got nothing to give, he'll stay positive. Positive Spurs.
So, getting relegated.
Positive Spurs.
Possibly not the first line you think when it comes to a bit of a positive Spurs segment. But say the worst happens and we do get relegated. One massive thing that I would be looking forward to is no VAR.
Here we go.
No VAR.
Here we go.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
What I mean, how long did you have to wait for Polina's goal to be given? You just want the outpouring of joy, don't you? You might as well not bother having VAR when you're going to have Basuma's tackle on him. No problem. West Ham not giving away a penalty when they're punching it out of the guy's lap.
Stonewall, absolute Stonewall.
Yeah, and to be fair, West Ham probably should have had a penalty as well because Pickford can apparently operate GBH on anybody when he goes out and spreads himself.
A little.
Yeah, I watched a bit of the commentary Wrexham game, and marginal offsides. I mean, when I say marginal, for 3-4 feet, but it's all good fun, isn't it? At least you can't. It's not coming back for 15-minute check and things like that. When you score a goal, it's gonna be fun for one season or 10. At least we could celebrate a goal again.
And look, for me, I live up in the northwest, not in the bourgeois south like you guys. There are some proper big championship clubs in the northwest near me. I am going to get to see a lot of games next year. I am going to go and tick all these off like what I used to when Wigan and Blackburn and Bolton were all in the Premier League. That was a good time for me. But yeah, to actually go and see more than just a handful of games in a year, for me, that's going to be amazing.
Okay, I'm not liking the positive vibes of getting relegated here. I'm sorry. I refuse to get on board with this positive Spurs. So, yes, no comment from me.
What?
Got to keep smiling, Mark. No matter what, you've got to find the silver lining.
Yeah. So roll on Sunday then. The train keeps going, and I guess we just got to see whether we're going to go into a deep, dark tunnel or head towards the light.
So it can take 1 week of things going in our direction, And then all of a sudden, it's going to be West Ham in that relegation zone. And let's hope it happens this weekend. But
yeah, it's going to be dramatic. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be nerve-wracking. So just hang on to your hats and let's see what happens. Come on, you Spurs.
probably Spurs.
Yeah.